Yeah, so what I just said is I am head of sports Asia. So I studied in Beijing for 6 years. And that's where I also became a lover of Korean wife. So my girlfriend at that time, now she's my wife, she's Korean. And that's how I have already, with Korea, I have a lot of touch points already. I was coaching before and now I am responsible for sports in Asia for FC Bayern. Working in the Asia office, East Asia office, definitely. I mean, for us, our aim is always having a player in the first team from Asia. This helps us a lot, and I'm looking forward to have him also playing in the first team. He had some great seasons behind him, I think, and that's the reason why he is now in the squad of FC Bayern. So really looking forward to see him playing in the red shirt. We would like to know everything about every player, no matter in which age, so that we know the player, we understand the player. So that's why in this particular case with Min-jae, it was very important for my colleagues that they also know, or that that it's about Korea, it's about Korean language, it's about how to approach him and stuff like this. And this is always individual. So because nowadays players like Min-jae, there is not only one club who is interested in a player like this, in those top players. So there you have to be creative, and this is what I think everybody in Bayern Munich should be and is, being creative and try to have the right approach for each player or for each initiative we are doing in order to be successful. And obviously we've been successful, which is great. So great work done already, and now let's see how he's performing. So very, we are looking forward to the next matches. That is also individual. It depends. So we know that in Korea, parents also are very important in the decision making as well. Some players, the approach is like this, that we send a present. Some players it's different. For some it's more about talking, understanding each other. And then it depends what level of the players, but that approach is always individual.
The buyer is skill, one of the buyer's skill.
I think that is those secrets you need to have. Yes, sometimes it's very hard. As I just said, there is one player and many clubs want him, and that's why I think you need to be individual and you need to be also creative. I think the first time I saw him in Paju, yes, I think that was under 20 national team, and this was before he went to Beijing. So I saw him training, a training match, and he was very aggressive. I like players like this, being aggressive, want to win the ball, but he made a lot of decision-making mistakes. So he went out all the time, but sometimes you better stay, especially if you play with four backs. So you go out all the time. There's one defender missing, a central defender missing. Oh, this big guy, this strong guy, Kim Min-jae, or he needs a very good coach in order to make the next step. So I thought he should go to Germany. So I was very surprised when he went to Beijing. And luckily, there was a German coach in Beijing with Roger Schmidt. And I think, we need to ask him whether he helped him a lot. But I had the feeling that with Roger Schmidt, those decision makings were better and better, and his decision making in when to be aggressive and when to stay back was better and better. So he made a big progress again. Maybe it was under 23. And then I started to actually try to learn more about the Korean football, about the national teams, about going to. Then we went to Korea. We watched some K-League, etc. And that's when I saw players like Koo Cha-chol, Chi Dong-won, and all those players. Hong Jol, I saw when he was very young. So many players, and I thought those players have the potential actually to play in Europe football. So that's why I told my friends in Freiburg, there are many good players in Korea. You should scout there, and that's my first touches with the Korean football. Yeah, you know, Freiburg is doing a great job because they are checking each player, which means they need some time to say yes or no. So that was at that time a little bit the problem, that they were, honest speaking, too slow. So I tell them, there is one player, Koo Cha-chol, you should watch him. They were like, oh yeah, we will check, but they didn't get too many sources to check the player. So and then it was very interesting that a friend of mine, he was working as a lawyer for many clubs, and there was Wolfsburg, and they were interested in a midfielder. So I was talking to my friend. He's an agent right now. So I was talking to my friend, and I said, hey, there is a great young talent. You should see him. He's still playing in Korea, and he will play in the Asian Games. Yes. And in the Asian Games, Koo Cha-chol performed very well. So Wolfsburg went to the Asian Games, and they watched the Asian Games when he performed that well, and that's how they picked him up, and that was the start of Koo Cha-chol in the Bundesliga. Then I think he stayed for 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Younger one, Lee Hyun-ju.
Yes.
You saw him?
Yes. He's I definitely has great potential. So on the ball, he's very good. His passes are very accurate, very good. So I think he has a good potential. But the last step is the most important step. So this step, let's see whether he makes it or not. But this, I mean, being a great talent, there are many great talent all around the world. But this last step, it's a lot of training. It's a lot of this will to keep developing. Sometimes you don't play. Sometimes you are injured. How can you live with it, or how do you come out of this injury? And will you be stronger? Yes or no? Mentally as well. Being in Germany, being in Europe, sometimes for Asian players is also not that easy. So all those things come together, and then this last step is the most important one. From the potential-wise, I think he can play in the Bundesliga. But let's see whether he will have the intensity, whether he has he will make the next and the last step. Yeah.
Freiburg to
Jung Woo-young.
Jung Woo-young.
Yes. Jung Woo-young as well. Yeah. So there as well. I mean, Jung Woo-young also played very well in our second team. Great potential, everything. But there was also the question: will he make the next step, the last step, to be a Bundesliga player, to be a national team player? This is really the last step is the hardest one. And fortunately, he made it. So he played some matches in our first team. I think 2 or 3 matches he made, and that helped him also a lot in order to be on the list of other clubs. And now he's Bundesliga player. Now he's in Stuttgart. But I'm still in touch with him. Yeah. Because Asia is so big, so you cannot say this country, you cannot compare.
Yes.
What we want to analyze a market, we want to understand the market, we want to understand, for example, the Korean market, the Japanese market, the Chinese market, and then based on their needs, we would like to have projects or initiatives with our partners together, which are always adjusted to the needs on site. So for example, Korea. I think Korea is a great football nation, and Korea has a lot of passion. All the kids, they love football, and in the training, they bring 100%. If a player goes to Germany, my German colleagues always say, oh, the Korean player, no problem, he's always on 100%, and he wants to give everything in a training, in the match, no problem, which is very good. So the basis is already there. In what I'm lacking a little bit in Korea is the whole development path. So training content. What should they train when they are small? What should they train when they are 15, 16, 17? What is the content there? How much training should be in a week? How many training sessions do you have? How long is one training session? When do you do strength training? When do you do recovery? Do you do recovery? So all the content, I think there is still some potential to grow in Korea. And if you would combine this, then the potential Korea has with the passion of all the kids and the coaches and the love for football, then Korea will make even a bigger step. To be honest, there is progress, yeah. But the Korean football is very interesting because you always have peak players, top players like Son Heung-min, Kim Min-jae, now Lee Kang-in, and those peak players. Before it was Park Ji-sung, you had Koo Ja-chol, Ki Seung-young, always those peak players. Yeah? And then you had some which were quite good, but you don't have this quite good players. It's not that there are 30 or 40 Korean players in Europe. It's not like this. There's always like 10, 15, something like this, maybe most 20, but usually it's like this. So, which means we need to elevate this foundation to the next level, and then the peak players Korea will always have, because those peak players, this is pure passion and love for football and training, and that's why there will always be those peak players. There is progress definitely, but there's still ways to be even better, I think.
Okay, thank you for interviewing. Yes, yeah.
No need to thank you for your time.
Yes, I very enjoyed the interview.